Section 11. Road and traffic signs. In this section, you'll learn about what the shapes of road sign can tell you, what road markings mean, the sequence and meaning of traffic lights, motorway warning lights, the signals used by other drivers and by police officers.
Signs. Road and traffic signs give important information to keep you safe on the road, so it's essential that you know what they mean and what you need to do when you see them. The shape and color of a road sign tell you about its meaning. Circular signs give orders. Blue circles give an instruction or show which sort of road user can use a route, for example, cyclists, pedestrians, trams. Red circles tell you what you must not do.
Triangular signs give warnings. Rectangular signs give information. Signs with a brown background give tourist information. The exception to the shape rule is the stop sign. This is octagonal so that it stands out and can be understood even if it's partly covered, for example, by snow. Triangular signs give warnings. Rectangular signs give information. Signs with a brown background give tourist information. The exception to the shape rule is the stop sign. This is octagonal so that it stands out and can be understood even if it's partly covered, for example, by snow.
Maximum speed limits are shown inside red circles. You must not go faster than the speed shown.
Where no speed limit is shown, the national speed limits apply.
Speed limit signs may be combined with other signs, such as those indicating a traffic-calmed area.
It's impossible to mention all the signs here.
Know Your Traffic Signs shows all the signs you're likely to see, and the official highway code contains important advice, information on current laws in Great Britain, and best practice in road safety. It's important that you get to know these to make sure that you don't break the law. Road markings. Markings on the road give information, orders or warnings. As a general rule, the more paint there is, the more important the message.
There are 3 types of road markings. 1. Along the middle of the road. Short broken white lines mark the center of the road. Longer broken white lines are hazard warning lines. Only overtake if you can see that the road ahead is clear. You must not cross or straddle double white lines with a solid white line on your side of the road unless you're turning into a junction or an entrance. You need to pass a stationary vehicle. You need to overtake a cyclist, horse or road maintenance vehicle if they're moving at 10 miles per hour or less. White diagonal stripes or chevrons separate lanes 2 of traffic or protect traffic turning right. Sometimes red tarmac is used within a block of white lines or diagonals. This highlights the area that separates traffic flowing in opposite directions. Along the side of the road. A white line shows the edge of the carriageway. Yellow lines show waiting and stopping restrictions. Zigzag lines, white at pedestrian crossings, yellow outside schools, mean no stopping or parking at any time. Lines on or across the road. Broken lines across the road mean give way. A single solid line means stop. Various markings on the road, for example give way triangles, road hump markings and rumble devices, warn of a hazard. As with signs, you should look at Know Your Traffic signs and the official highway code to learn more about road markings. You may see reflective studs on motorways and other roads. These are especially useful at night and when visibility is poor, as they help to make the lanes and edges of the road easier to see. Different colored studs Traffic lights and warning lights. Traffic lights work in a sequence.
Red, stop and wait behind the stop line. Red and amber, stop and wait, don't pass or start until the green light shows.
Green, go, if the way is clear.
Amber, stop unless you've already crossed the stop line or you're so close to it that pulling up might cause an incident. On some traffic lights there's a green filter arrow. This means you can go in the direction of the arrow, even if the main light isn't showing green.
If a set of traffic lights is out of order, drive very carefully, nobody has priority. There may be a sign telling you that the lights aren't working.
Red flashing lights are used at level crossings and other locations, such as lifting bridges and outside some fire stations.
You must stop when these show. At roadworks, traffic can be controlled by a police officer. Traffic lights. A stop/go board.
On motorways, signals on the overhead gantries or at the roadside may also have flashing lights. Amber warns you of a hazard, for example lane closures, to leave at the next exit, fog, or a temporary maximum speed advised for the conditions. If red lights flash on a signal and a red X is showing, you must not drive in the lane shown as closed beyond the signal. If red lights flash on a signal in the central reservation or on the side of the road and the lane closed sign is showing, you must not go beyond the signal in any lane.
Signals given by drivers and the police. Road users normally signal where they're intending to turn by using their indicators. Make sure that your indicators are cancelled after you've turned, to avoid confusing other road users. Be aware that another driver may have left their indicator on by mistake. If you're emerging from a junction, and a driver coming along the main road from the right is close to you, and indicating left, wait until the vehicle starts to turn before you emerge. You may need to use an arm signal to strengthen or clarify the message given by your indicators, such as when you're signaling to turn right in busy traffic, slowing down to give way at a zebra crossing. If you're slowing down and stopping just after a junction, wait to signal until you're passing the junction, or just after it. You can use the horn to warn others that you're there. You must not use it between 11:30 p.m. and 7 a.m. when driving in a built-up area, except when another road user puts you in danger. You must not use your horn when stationary, unless another vehicle is likely to cause a danger. When should you flash your? When showing that you're giving way. When showing that you're about to turn. When telling them that you have right of way. When letting them know that you're there. You should only flash your headlights to warn others of your presence. Don't use them to greet others, show impatience, or give priority to other road users, because they could misunderstand your signal.
Tip: if you're driving on a motorway or unrestricted dual carriageway, you can briefly use your hazard warning lights to warn drivers behind you that there's an obstruction ahead.
Police or traffic officers may signal to you if they're directing traffic. Make sure that you know all the official arms signals in case you need to use or react to them.
A police or traffic officer following you in a patrol vehicle may flash their headlights, indicate left and point to the left to direct you to stop. Pull up on the left as soon as it's safe to do so. Remember, you must obey any signals given by police or traffic officers, traffic wardens and signs used by school crossing patrols.
Road lanes.
Contraflow lanes are lanes that flow in the opposite direction to most of the traffic.
Bus and cycle contraflow lanes may be found in one-way streets. They'll be signed and marked on the road. Don't try to drive against the flow of traffic in these lanes.
You may also see contraflow lanes at roadworks.
When you see the signs, reduce your speed and comply with any temporary speed limits. Choose an appropriate lane in good time. Keep the correct distance from the vehicle in front.
The center and right-hand lanes of a 3-lane motorway are overtaking lanes. Always move back to a lane on your left after overtaking, to allow other vehicles to overtake. On a free-flowing motorway or dual carriageway, you mustn't overtake other vehicles on their left. Meeting the standards.
You must be able to respond correctly to all
Permanent traffic signals, signs and road markings.
temporary traffic signals, signs and road markings. You must know and understand the meaning of all mandatory traffic signs and how to respond to them. The meaning of all warning signs and how to respond to them. The meaning of all road markings and how to respond to them. Think about: when are you allowed to cross double white lines along the center of the road? What must you never do on zigzag lines? What shape is the stop sign? What should you do at an amber traffic light? When might you need to use arm signals? Things to discuss and practice with your instructor. These are just a few examples of what you could discuss and practice with your instructor.
Read more about road and traffic signs to come up with your own ideas.
Discuss with your instructor.
Which is the only octagonal road sign and why it's unique?
What these shapes of sign tell you.
Round. Triangular.
Rectangular.
What different patterns of road markings mean, for example double white lines, yellow boxes, etc.
Practice with your instructor.
Identifying signs from the official highway code and know your traffic signs. Driving through a busy town center and identifying all the warning signs that you see.
Driving to a level crossing and identifying the signs and signals that you find there. What does this sign mean? Service area 30 miles ahead. Maximum speed 30 miles per hour.
Minimum speed 30 miles per hour.
Lay-by 30 miles ahead.
This sign is shown where slow-moving vehicles would impede the flow of traffic, for example, in tunnels. However, if you need to slow down or even stop to avoid an incident or potential collision, you should do so. In order to keep roads free from parked cars, there are some areas where you're allowed to park on the verge. Only do this where you see the sign. Parking on verges or footways anywhere else could lead to a fine.
Which type of sign tells you what you must not do?
Signs in the shape of a circle give orders. A sign with a red circle means that you aren't allowed to do something. Know your traffic signs to ensure that you understand what the different traffic signs mean.
What does this sign mean? Change to the left-hand lane. Leave at the next exit. Contraflow system. One-way street.
If you use the right-hand lane in a contraflow system, you'll be traveling with no permanent barrier between you and the oncoming traffic. Observe speed limits and keep a good distance from the vehicle ahead.
What does this sign mean?
When you see this sign, look out for any direction signs and judge whether you need to signal your intentions. Do this in good time so that other road users approaching the roundabout know what you're planning to do.
What does this sign mean? Hump bridge, traffic calming hump, low bridge, uneven road.
You'll need to slow down. At hump bridges, your view ahead will be restricted and the road will often be narrow. If the bridge is very steep, sound your horn to warn others of your approach. Going over the bridge too fast is highly dangerous to other road users and could even cause your wheels to leave the road, with a resulting loss of control.
How will a police officer in a patrol vehicle signal for you to stop? Flash the headlights, indicate left and point to the left, overtake and give a slowing down arm signal, use the siren, overtake, cut in front and stop, pull alongside you, use the siren and wave you to stop.
You must obey signals given by the police. If a police officer in a patrol vehicle wants you to pull over, they'll indicate this without causing danger to you or other traffic.
What does this sign mean? With flow bus and cycle lane, contraflow bus and cycle lane, no buses and cycles allowed, no waiting for buses and cycles.
Buses and cycles can travel in this lane. In this example, they'll flow in the same direction as other traffic. If it's busy, they may be passing you on the left, so watch out for them. Times on the sign will show the lane's hours of operation. If no times are shown, or there's no sign at all, this means the lane is in operation 24 hours a day. In some areas, other vehicles, such as taxis and motorcycles, are allowed to use bus lanes. The sign will show if this is the case.
You're in the left-hand lane at traffic lights, waiting to turn left. Which signal means you must wait?
At some junctions, there may be separate signals for different lanes. These are called filter lights. They're designed to help traffic flow at major junctions. Make sure that you're in the correct lane and proceed if the way is clear and the green light shows for your lane.
You're driving in busy traffic. You want to pull up just after a junction on the left. When should you signal? As you're passing or just after the junction, just before you reach the junction, well before you reach the junction. It would be better not to signal at all.
You need to signal to let other drivers know your intentions. However, if you indicate too early, they may think you're turning left into the junction. Correct timing of the signal is very important to avoid misleading others.
What should you do when you're approaching traffic lights that have red and amber showing together? Pass the lights if the road is clear. Take care because there's a fault with the lights. Wait for the green light. Stop because the lights are changing to red.
Be aware that other traffic might still be clearing the junction as you approach. A green light means you may go on, but only if the way is clear.
What does this sign mean? Low bridge ahead, tunnel ahead, ancient monument ahead, traffic danger spot ahead.
When approaching a tunnel, switch on your dipped headlights. Be aware that your eyes might need to adjust to the sudden darkness. You may need to reduce your speed.
Which sign means there will be two-way traffic crossing your route ahead?
This sign is found in or at the end of a one-way system. It warns you that traffic will be crossing your path from both directions.
What does this sign mean? Give way to oncoming vehicles. Approaching traffic passes you on both sides. Turn off at the next available junction. Pass either side to get to the same destination.
These signs are often seen in one-way streets that have more than one lane. When you see this sign, use the route that's the most convenient and doesn't require a late change of direction.
What does this signal mean? Cars must stop. Trams must stop. Both trams and cars must stop. Both trams and cars can continue.
The white light shows that trams must stop. The green light shows that other vehicles can go if the way is clear. Trams are being introduced into more cities, so you're likely to come across them and you should learn which signs apply to them.
Which diagram shows a hazard warning line?
You need to know the difference between the normal center line and a hazard warning line. If there's a hazard ahead, the markings are longer and the gaps shorter. This gives you advance warning of an unspecified hazard.
Which shape is used for a give way sign?
Other warning signs are the same shape and color, but the give way triangle points downwards. When you see this sign, you must give way to traffic on the road that you're about to enter.
What does this sign mean? End of motorway, end of restriction, lane ends ahead, free recovery ends.
Temporary restrictions on motorways are shown on signs that have flashing amber lights. At the end of the restriction, you'll see this sign without any flashing lights.
Which of these signs warns you of a zebra crossing?
Look well ahead and check the pavements and surrounding areas for pedestrians. Look for anyone walking towards the crossing. Check your mirrors for traffic behind, in case you have to slow down or stop.
What must you do when you see this sign? Stop only if traffic is approaching. Stop even if the road is clear. Stop only if children are waiting to cross. Stop only if a red light is showing.
Stop signs are situated at junctions where visibility is restricted or where there's heavy traffic. They must be obeyed. You must stop. Look carefully before moving off.
What does this sign mean? You have priority. No motor vehicles. Two-way traffic. No overtaking.
Road signs that prohibit overtaking are placed in locations where passing the vehicle in front is dangerous. If you see this sign, don't attempt to overtake. The sign is there for a reason, you must obey it. A sign will indicate which types of vehicles are prohibited from certain roads. Make sure that you know which signs apply to the vehicle you're using. This is the sign for a clearway. Clearways are stretches of road where you aren't allowed to stop unless it's an emergency. Stopping where these restrictions apply may be dangerous and is likely to cause an obstruction. Restrictions might apply for several miles and this may be indicated on the sign. It will take up to 10 times longer to stop when it's icy. Where there's a risk of icy conditions, you need to be aware of this and take extra care. If you think the road may be icy, don't brake or steer harshly, as your tires could lose their grip on the road.
Which sign means no stopping?
Stopping where this clearway restriction applies is likely to cause congestion. Allow the traffic to flow by obeying the signs.
What does a red traffic light mean? You should stop unless turning left. Stop, if you're able to brake safely. You must stop and wait behind the stop line. Proceed with care.
Whatever light is showing, you should know which light is going to appear next and be able to take appropriate action. For example, when amber is showing on its own, you'll know that red will appear next. This should give you ample time to anticipate and respond safely.
What does this white arrow on the road mean? Entrance on the left. All vehicles turn left. Return to your side of the road. Road bends to the left.
The arrow indicates the direction in which to pass hatch markings or double white lines. If you're overtaking, you must return to the left-hand side of the road.
Where can you find reflective amber studs on a motorway? Separating the slip road from the motorway. On the left-hand edge of the road. On the right-hand edge of the road. Separating the lanes.
At night or in poor visibility, reflective studs on the road help you to judge your position on the carriageway.
You're waiting at a T-junction. What should you do if a vehicle is coming from the right?
with its left indicator flashing.
Move out and accelerate hard.
Wait until the vehicle starts to turn in. Pull out before the vehicle reaches the junction.
Move out slowly.
Other road users may give misleading signals. When you're waiting at a junction, don't emerge until you're sure of their intentions.
Where would you see this road marking?
At traffic lights, on road humps, near a level crossing, at a box junction.
Because the road has a dark color, changes in level aren't easily seen. White triangles painted on the road surface give you an indication of where there are road humps.
Which sign means no motor vehicles allowed?
This sign is used to enable pedestrians to walk free from traffic. It's often found in shopping areas.
What does 25 mean on this motorway sign? The distance to the nearest town, the route number of the road, the number of the next junction, the speed limit on the slip road.
Before you set out on your journey, use a road map to plan your route. When you see an advance warning of your junction, make sure you get into the correct lane in plenty of time. Last-minute harsh braking and cutting across lanes at speed is extremely hazardous.
What does this sign mean? Side winds. Road.
A warning sign with a picture of a windsock indicates that there may be strong side winds. This sign is often found on exposed roads. Look well ahead and be ready to stop for any pedestrians crossing, or about to cross, the road. Also check the pavements for anyone who looks like they might step or run into the road.
Which is the sign for a ring road?
Ring roads are designed to relieve congestion in towns and city centers.
You've stopped at a railway level crossing. What should you do if the red lights continue to flash after a train has gone by? Phone the signal operator. Alert drivers behind you. Wait.
You must always obey red flashing stoplights. If a train passes but the lights continue to flash, another train will be passing soon. Cross only when the lights go off and the barriers open.
What does this sign mean? The right-hand lane ahead is narrow. Right-hand lane for buses only. Right-hand lane for turning right. The
yellow and black temporary signs may be used to inform you about roadworks or lane restrictions. Look well ahead. If you have to change lanes, do so in good time.
Which sign means turn left ahead?
Blue circles tell you what you must do, and this sign gives a clear instruction to turn left ahead. You should be looking out for signs at all times and know what they mean.
What does this sign mean? Route for trams. Give way to trams. Route for buses. Give way to buses.
Take extra care when you encounter trams. Look out for road markings and signs that alert you to them. Modern trams are very quiet and you may not hear them approaching.
You're approaching traffic lights and the red light is showing. What signal will show next? Red and amber. Green alone. Amber alone. Green and amber.
If you know which light is going to show next, you can plan your approach accordingly. This can help prevent excessive braking or hesitation at the junction.
What does this sign mean? No parking, no road markings, no through road, no entry.
No entry signs are used in places such as one-way streets to prevent vehicles driving against the traffic. To ignore one would be dangerous, both for yourself and for other road users, as well as being against the law.
What do the long white lines along the center of the road mean? Bus lane, hazard warning, give way, lane marking.
The center of the road is usually marked by a broken white line, with lines that are shorter than the gaps. When the lines become longer than the gaps, this is a hazard warning line. Look well ahead for these, especially when you're planning to overtake or turn off.
Which sign informs you that you're coming to a no-through road?
This sign is found at the entrance to a road that can only be used for access.
What does this sign mean? Two-way traffic crosses a one-way road. Traffic approaching you has priority. Two-way traffic straight ahead. Motorway contraflow system ahead.
This sign may be at the end of a dual carriageway, or a one-way street. It's there to warn you of oncoming traffic.
Which arm signal tells you that the car you're following is going to pull up?
There may be occasions when drivers need to give an arm signal to confirm their intentions. This could include in bright sunshine, at a complex road layout, when stopping at a pedestrian crossing or when turning right just after passing a parked vehicle. You should understand what each arm signal means. If you give arm signals, make them clear, correct and decisive.
At traffic lights, what does it mean when the amber light shows on its own? Prepare to go. Go if the way is clear. Go if no pedestrians are crossing. Stop at the stop line.
When the amber light is showing on its own, the red light will follow next. The amber light means stop, unless you've already crossed the stop line or you're so close to it that stopping may cause a collision.
What does this sign mean? Level crossing with gate or barrier. Gated road ahead. Level crossing without gate or barrier. Cattle grid ahead.
Some crossings have gates but no attendant or signals. You should stop, look both ways, listen and make sure that no train is approaching. If there's a telephone, contact the signal operator to make sure it's safe to cross.
Which sign means that the national speed limit applies?
You should know the speed limit for the road on which you're traveling and for your vehicle. The different speed limits are shown in the highway code.
What's the meaning of this traffic sign? End of two-way road. Give priority to vehicles coming towards you. You have priority over vehicles coming towards you.
Don't force your way through. Show courtesy and consideration to other road users. Although you have priority, make sure oncoming traffic is going to give way before you continue.
When may you use hazard warning lights while you're driving? Instead of sounding the horn in a built-up area between 11:30 p.m. and 7 a.m., on a motorway or unrestricted dual carriageway, to warn of a hazard ahead, on rural routes, after a sign warning of animals, on the approach to toucan crossings, where cyclists are waiting to cross.
When there's queuing traffic ahead and you have to slow down or even stop, briefly showing your hazard warning lights will help alert the traffic behind to the hazard.
What does this sign mean? Traffic lights out of order, amber signal out of order, temporary traffic lights ahead, new traffic lights ahead.
You might see this sign where traffic lights are out of order. Proceed with caution, as nobody has priority at the junction. If you're in a place where there are likely to be pedestrians, for example, outside a school, near a park, in a residential area or in a shopping area, you should be cautious and keep your speed down. Many local authorities have taken steps to slow traffic down by creating traffic calming measures such as road humps. They're there for a reason: slow down.
What does this sign mean?
If you intend to stop and rest, this sign allows you time to reduce speed and pull over safely.
What should you be aware of if you've just passed this sign? This is a single-track road. You can't stop on this road, only one lane is in use. All traffic is going one way.
In a one-way system, traffic may pass you on either side. Always be aware of all traffic signs and understand their meaning. Look well ahead and react to them in good time.
What should you do when you see this sign at a crossroads? Maintain the same speed, carry on with great care, find another route, telephone the police.
When traffic lights are out of order, treat the junction as an unmarked crossroads. Be very careful and be prepared to stop. No one has priority.
What information would be shown in a triangular road sign? Road narrows. Ahead only. Keep left. Minimum speed.
Warning signs are there to make you aware of potential hazards on the road ahead. Take note of the signs so you're prepared and can take whatever action is necessary.
What does the white line along the side of the road indicate? The edge of the carriageway, the approach to a hazard, no parking, no overtaking.
A continuous white line is used on many roads to indicate the edge of the carriageway. This can be useful when visibility is restricted. The line is discontinued at junctions, lay-bys, and entrances to or exits from private drives.
What does this sign mean? Bus station on the right, contraflow bus lane, with flow bus lane, give way to buses.
There will also be markings on the road surface to indicate the bus lane. You mustn't use this lane for parking or overtaking.
You're about to overtake. What should you do when you see this sign? Overtake the other driver as quickly as possible. Move to the right to get a better view. Switch your headlights on before overtaking. Hold back until you can see clearly ahead.
You won't be able to see any hazards that might be hidden in the dip. As well as oncoming traffic, the dip may conceal cyclists, horse riders, parked vehicles, pedestrians in the road.
Where would you find green reflective studs on a motorway?
Separating driving lanes, between the hard shoulder and the carriageway, at slip road entrances and exits, between the carriageway and the central reservation.
Knowing the colors of the reflective studs on the road will help you judge your position, especially at night, in foggy conditions or when visibility is poor.
What does this sign indicate?
A diversion route, a picnic area, a pedestrian zone, a site.
When a diversion route has been put in place, drivers are advised to follow a symbol, which may be a black triangle, square, circle or diamond shape on a yellow background.
What does this sign mean?
Motorcycles only. No cars. Cars only.
No motorcycles.
You must comply with all traffic signs and be especially aware of those signs that apply specifically to the type of vehicle you're using.
You're approaching a junction where the traffic lights aren't working.
What should you do when a police officer gives this signal?
Turn left only, turn right only, continue ahead only, stop at the stop line.
When a police officer or traffic warden is directing traffic, you must obey them. They use the arm signals shown in the highway code. Learn what these signals mean and obey them.
What does this sign mean?
No motor vehicles.
End of motorway, no through road.
When you leave the motorway, make sure that you check your speedometer. You may be going faster than you realize. Slow down and look for speed limit signs.
Which sign means you have priority over oncoming vehicles?
Even though you have priority, be prepared to give way if other drivers don't. This will help to avoid congestion, confrontation or even a collision.
How should the right-hand lane of a 3-lane motorway be used?
As a high-speed lane, as an overtaking lane, as a right turn lane, as an acceleration lane.
You should stay in the left-hand lane of a motorway unless you're overtaking another vehicle. The right-hand lane of a motorway is an overtaking lane, it isn't the fast lane. After overtaking, move back to the left when it's safe to do so.
How should you give an arm signal to turn left?
There may be occasions when other road users are unable to see your indicator, such as in bright sunlight or at a busy, complicated junction. In these cases, an arm signal will help others to understand your intentions.
Who has priority when traffic lights are out of order? Traffic going straight on.
Traffic turning right, nobody. Traffic turning left.
When traffic lights are out of order, you should treat the junction as an unmarked crossroads. Be cautious, as you may need to give way or stop.
What does this sign mean? Tourist attraction, beware of trains. Level crossing, beware of trams.
These signs indicate places of interest, and are designed to guide you by the easiest route. They're particularly useful when you're unfamiliar with the area. The priority through the junction is shown by the broader line. You need to be aware of the hazard posed by traffic crossing or pulling out onto a major road. You won't be able to find a through route to another road. Use this road only for access. Avoid blocking traffic.
Where would you find these flashing red light signals?
Pelican crossings.
Motorway.
These signals are found.
How can you identify traffic signs that give orders?
They're rectangular with a yellow border. They're triangular with a blue border. They're square with a brown border. They're circular with a red border.
There are three basic types of traffic sign: those that warn, those that inform, and those that give orders. Generally, triangular signs warn, rectangular signs give information or directions, and circular signs give orders. An exception is the 8-sided stop sign.
In winter, road signs can become covered by snow.
What does this sign mean?
Crossroads.
The stop sign is the only road sign that's octagonal. This is so that it can be recognized and obeyed even if it's obscured, for example, by snow.
What shape is a stop sign?
To make it easy to recognize, the stop sign is the only sign of this shape. You must stop and take effective observation before proceeding.
Why does this junction have a stop sign and a stop line on the road?
Speed on the major road is de-restricted. It's a busy junction. Visibility along the major road is restricted. The junction is on a downhill gradient.
Where emerging traffic has a very restricted view of the main road, you may find a stop sign and a solid white stop line. You must stop at the line and then check carefully before you emerge.
What do these zigzag white lines mean? No parking at any time. Parking allowed only for a short time. Slow down to 20 miles per hour. Sounding horns isn't allowed.
The approach to, and exit from, a pedestrian crossing is marked with zigzag lines. You mustn't park on them or overtake the leading vehicle when approaching the crossing. Parking here would block the view for pedestrians and approaching traffic.
You're on a motorway.
What should you do if there's a red cross showing on the signs above your lane only?
Continue in that lane and look for further information. Don't continue in that lane. Pull onto the hard shoulder. Stop and wait for an instruction to proceed.
A red cross above your lane shows that your lane is closed. You should move into another lane as soon as you can do so safely.
What does this sign mean? End of dual carriageway, tall bridge, road narrows, end.
Don't wait until the last.
What does this road marking mean? Don't cross the line.
No stopping allowed.
You're approaching a hazard. No overtaking allowed.
A single broken line along the center.
Which sign shows that you're entering a one-way system?
If the road has 2 lanes, you can use either lane and overtake on either side. Use the lane that's more convenient for your destination unless signs or road markings indicate otherwise.
What does this sign mean? Bend to the right. Road on the right closed. No traffic from the right.
No right turn.
The no right turn sign may be used to warn road users that there's a no entry prohibition on a road to the right.
What does this motorway sign mean? Change to the lane on your left. Leave the motorway at the next exit. Change to the opposite carriageway. Pull up on the hard shoulder.
On the motorway, Signs sometimes show temporary warnings due to traffic or weather conditions. They may be used to indicate lane closures, temporary speed limits, weather warnings.
Which sign means the end of a dual carriageway?
If you're overtaking, make sure.
What does this sign mean?
Quayside or riverbank.
Steep hill downwards, uneven road surface, road line.
You should be careful in these locations, as the road surface is likely to be wet and slippery. There may be a steep drop to the water, and there may not be a barrier along the edge of the road. You should change lanes as directed by the sign. Here, the right-hand lane is closed but the left-hand and center lanes are available. Merging in turn is recommended when it's safe and traffic is going slowly, for example, at roadworks or a road traffic incident. When vehicles are traveling at speed, this isn't advisable and you should move into the appropriate lane in good time. This sign is found where a
What does this line across the road at the entrance to a roundabout mean?
Give way to traffic from the right. Traffic from the left has right of way. You have right of way. Stop at the line.
Slow down as you approach the roundabout and check for traffic from the right. If you need to stop and give way, stay behind the broken line until it's safe to emerge onto.
What should you do when you see this sign as you travel along a motorway?
Leave the motorway at the next exit, turn left immediately, change lane, move onto the hard shoulder.
You'll see this sign if the motorway is closed ahead. Pull into the left-hand lane as soon as it's safe to do so. Don't wait until the last moment before you move across, because the lane may be busy and you'll have to rely on another driver making room for you.
What does this sign mean?
Direction to park and ride car park.
No parking for buses or coaches. Direction to bus and coach park. Parking area for cars and coaches.
To ease the congestion in town centers, some cities and towns provide park and ride schemes. These allow you to park in a designated area and ride by bus into the center. Park and ride schemes are usually cheaper and easier than car parking in the town center.
What does this traffic sign mean? Slippery road ahead. Tires liable to punctures ahead. Danger ahead. Service area ahead.
This sign is there to alert you to the likelihood of danger ahead. It may be accompanied by a plate indicating the type of hazard. Be ready to reduce your speed.
What does this sign mean? New speed limit 20 miles per hour. No vehicles over 30 tons.
Minimum speed limit 30 miles per hour. End of 20 miles per hour zone.
Where you see this sign, the 20 miles per hour restriction ends and a 30 miles per hour restriction starts. Check all around for possible hazards and only increase your speed if it's safe to do so. As you approach a roundabout, look well ahead and check all signs. Decide which exit you wish to take and move into the correct position as you approach the roundabout.
What shape are traffic signs giving orders?
Road signs in the shape of a circle.
What does this sign mean? Adverse camber. Steep hill downwards. Uneven road.
This sign gives you an early.
Where would you see a contraflow bus lane? On a dual carriageway, on a roundabout, on an urban motorway, on a one-way street.
The traffic permitted to use a contraflow lane travels in the opposite direction.
What does this traffic sign mean? No overtaking allowed. Give priority to oncoming traffic, two-way traffic, one-way traffic only.
Priority signs on.
What does this sign mean? Hump bridge, humps in the road, entrance to tunnel, soft verges.
These humps have been put in place to slow the traffic down.
What does it mean if you see this signal on the motorway?
Leave the motorway at the next.
You'll see this sign.
You're at a junction controlled by traffic lights. When should you wait at a green light? When pedestrians are waiting to cross, when your exit from the junction is blocked, when you think the lights may be about to change, when you intend to turn right.
As you approach the traffic lights, look into the road you wish to take. Only proceed if your exit road is clear.
You see this amber traffic light ahead.
Which light, or lights, will come on next? Red alone.
Red and amber together, green and amber together, green alone.
At junctions controlled by traffic light.
What does this motorway sign mean? Temporary minimum speed 50 miles per hour, no services for 50 miles.
Obstruction 50 meters.
Look out for signs above your lane.
Which sign means that pedestrians may be walking along the road?
When you pass pedestrians in the.
When may you cross a double solid white line in the middle of the road?
To pass traffic that's queuing back at a junction. To pass a car signaling to turn left ahead. To pass a road maintenance vehicle traveling at 10 miles per hour or less.
To pass a vehicle that's towing a trailer.
You may cross the solid white line to pass a stationary vehicle or to pass a pedal cycle, horse or road maintenance vehicle if it's traveling at 10 miles per hour or less. You may also cross the solid white line to enter a side road or access a property.
What does this sign mean? No trams ahead, oncoming trams, trams crossing ahead,
trams only.
This sign tells you. Obey the give way signs. Trams are unable to steer around. This type of sign warns you of hazards ahead. Make sure you look at each sign and road marking that you pass, so that you don't miss any vital instructions or information. This sign shows there's a T-junction with priority over vehicles from the right.
Other drivers may sometimes flash their headlights at you.
What's the official meaning of this signal?
There's a radar speed trap ahead. They're giving way to you. They're warning you of their presence. There's a fault with your vehicle.
If other drivers.
Where would you find these road markings?
At a railway crossing, at a mini roundabout, on a motorway, on a pedestrian crossing.
These markings show.
Which sign means there's a double bend ahead?
Triangular signs.
What does this sign mean? Turn left for parking area, no through road on the left, no entry for traffic turning left, turn left for ferry terminal.
This sign shows you that Urban clearways are provided to keep.
What messages are given by circular traffic signs that have a blue background? They give temporary directions during a diversion. They give directions to car parks. They give motorway information. They give mandatory instructions.
Signs with blue circles generally give mandatory.
What does this sign mean? Cyclists must dismount. Cycles aren't allowed.
Where there's a cycle route ahead, a sign will show a bicycle in a red wall. Where there's a long.
What does this traffic sign mean? Compulsory maximum speed limit. Advisory maximum speed limit. Compulsory minimum speed limit. Advised separation distance.
The sign gives you an early warning of a speed restriction. If you're traveling at a higher speed, slow down in good time. You could come across queuing traffic due to roadwork.
What does this arm signal mean? The driver is slowing down. The driver intends to turn right. The driver wishes to overtake.
There might be an.
When may you sound your vehicle's horn? To give you right of way. To attract a friend's attention.
Never sound your vehicle's horn.
What's the reason for the hatched area along the center of this road? It separates traffic flowing in opposite directions. It marks an area to be used by overtaking motorcyclists. It's a temporary marking to warn of the roadworks. It separates the two sides of the dual carriageway.
Areas of hatched markings, such.
Which type of vehicle does this sign apply to? Wide vehicles, long vehicles, high vehicles, heavy vehicles.
The triangular shapes.
Your vehicle is stationary. When may you use its horn? When another road user poses a danger. When the road is blocked by queuing traffic. When it's used only briefly. When signaling that you've just arrived.
When your vehicle is stationary, only sound the horn if you think there's.
Why should you make sure that your indicators are cancelled after turning at a junction? To avoid flattening the battery, to avoid misleading other road users, to avoid dazzling other road users, to avoid
leaving your indicators.
What does this sign mean? Two-way traffic straight ahead. Two-way traffic crosses a one-way road. Two-way traffic over a bridge. Two-way traffic crosses a two-way road.
Be prepared for traffic approaching from junctions on either side of you.
What's the national speed limit on a single carriageway road? 50 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour.
If you're traveling on a dual.
Which sign means no entry?
Look for and obey.
What does a sign with a brown background show? Tourist directions.
Signs with a brown.
What does this sign mean? Waiting restrictions apply. Waiting permitted. National speed limit applies. Clearway, no stopping.
There'll be a plate.
What's the purpose of triangular shaped signs? To give warnings. To give information.
Triangular sign.
What does this sign mean? End of restricted speed area. End of restricted parking area. End of clearway. End of cycle route.
Even though you've left.
You're on a motorway. A lorry has stopped in the right-hand lane. What should you do when you see this sign on the lorry? Move into the right-hand lane.
Sometimes work is.
A police car is following you. What should you do if the police officer flashes the headlights and points to the left? Turn left at the next junction. Pull up on the left. Stop immediately.
You must pull up on the.
You're in a tunnel, and you see this sign. What does it mean? Direction to an emergency pedestrian exit. Beware of pedestrians, no footpath ahead. No access for pedestrians. Beware of pedestrians crossing ahead.
If you have to leave your vehicle and get out of a tunnel by an emergency exit, do so as quickly as you can. Follow the signs directing you to the nearest